What is up, YouTube? This is Nick with the Elite Reef, back again with another quick update on my innovative Marine Nuvo SR-80 aquarium. I haven't made a video in a few months now. I've been traveling, I've been away from the system, so I just wanted to give you guys a quick follow-up on the progression that the tank has made since my last video. And as you can see, the coral growth has been unbelievable here. I've gotten green star polyps to cover almost that entire back wall, xenia growing in the front right half side of the tank. I've got my LPS doing really well. The stony coral's doing well. I've got about 50 toadstool leathers in the tank now. Everything's growing at a really healthy and reasonable rate. And what I'm so happy about with this tank is that it's able to achieve these results with very little work from my end. I travel a lot. I'm unable to baby the system. So I've had it running where it's completely self-sufficient and self-sustaining. And that's probably the biggest benefit, is now I can sit back and enjoy the tank. I don't have to worry about a lot of different things going wrong with it. It just does really well on its own. If we zoom in here to the left-hand side of the tank, you can see that the male and female clownfish are still not a bonded pair. My female clownfish was once a male in a previous pairing with a female that passed away, so I introduced a new male to the tank, and she's still a little uneasy with him, so she will not let the male host in that sunburst bubble tip anemone. The male stays host to that goniopora or flower pot coral. I'm a little disappointed with the growth of this coral, but I understand that the male really beats this coral up and swims in it all day long. It hosts this clownfish all day long. It doesn't really have a problem with it. It's open, it's out, it's colorful. It just hasn't had that much growth to it. And I kind of understand that, because this coral is not meant to host clownfish. And if we zoom in here on this little guy, you can see that he really nestles into this coral all day long. So I'm understanding that I'm going to have limited growth with this coral. He kind of bounces around between different ones, but for the most part, 23 hours a day, this male clownfish is in that coral. The female clownfish does do a great job of being a host to that sunburst anemone. It has been hosting that anemone for the past four years now or so, and the anemone has no problem with it, obviously. I know they're not a pair in the wild, but it does really well with this female, and she seems to take good care of it. I'm not sure when she's going to let the male clownfish into this anemone. Right now she's very territorial towards it, and she's not going to let him in anywhere near that anemone. I do have, ironically, 3 other anemones in the aquarium, but the male does not seem to want to host any of those other anemones. The Duncan Coral is doing really well. This has about 15 or 20 heads now or so. I've got 3 of these in the tank. They're doing really well. All my LPS coral seems to be thriving. I think my tank is conditioned best for LPS corals. I am growing some stony corals in the tank, but mostly it's an LPS soft coral tank. On the left-hand side here, we've got 2 big frog spawn colonies. One is about 100 heads. The other one is about 20 or so on the left. It was on the other side of the tank. I did have to move it back here. It was just getting too much flow and I think too much light. So I moved it over here. They're both over there, and they're doing really well. I do have in front of the tank a octo spawn. It's a yellow frog spawn. It's a really unique coral. It just split into a second head. It's a slow grower. They start off slow, but then they get pretty big pretty fast. This is a bottom-down shot of my tank. I think it's a really unique view. You can kind of see the whole tank and how everything's growing. Obviously, the green star polyps on the back of the tank are growing obnoxiously fast. Same with the xenia in the front of the tank. It's growing on that rock on the right-hand side of the wall. So everything is growing really nicely. And like I said at the beginning of the video, I'm traveling a lot. I'm away from the system, so I'm unable to baby or take care of the system as I probably would like to. But I do have a system that is self-sufficient and that can run itself, and I don't have to worry about leaving it for 1, 2, 3 weeks at a time. It's going to be completely self-sufficient and run itself and grow at a healthy and acceptable rate. I am going to be making another video on my maintenance schedule and habits and what I do to keep a system self-sustaining and thriving. However, one of the tips I can give right now is the best and most important thing you can do for your tank is a water change. I do a single 15% water change every 2 weeks religiously. and that keeps my tank in perfect condition. It seems to get rid of all the bad stuff that could have been happening, and it really keeps a nice, maintained, well-balanced reef tank. Thanks again for watching. Be sure to hit that like button and subscribe.